Organizations should always be attentive for indications that employees are looking to unionize, according to Sundeep Gokhale, a partner at Sherrard Kuzz. He says the labor movement is changing.
In terms of new organizing strategies, I think they're taking a more globalized approach. A lot of it is a top-down organizing model that unions are implementing, putting more pressure on employers to accept unionization and to voluntarily recognize certain unions, as opposed to the traditional model, which is your union organizers kind of hanging out outside of parking lots and in food courts trying to engage your employees for that 5 to 10 minute period. That's still there, and it's still effective for many unions, but at the end of the day, I think they're taking a more globalized approach and trying to put pressure on employers from the top down as opposed to the organizing model from the bottom up.
He says there's one big misconception organizations have about unions.
Don't be scared to talk about unions. I think there's this fear employers have that you can't say or do anything with respect to unions. When you're operating a business, you're always susceptible to unionization. So at the end of the day, you need your frontline leaders to really be educated, informed in terms of the process, what they can and cannot say, because you don't want them to do something that could get the company into any legal issues. But at the end of the day, you still want them to feel autonomous and build on the relationships that they have in the workplace. So really getting that frontline leadership educated and informed so that they're not scared and they can actually feel free to engage with employees about pros and cons of unionization.
So how should employers communicate to employees about unions?
Yeah, we typically boil it down to something called tips. So you can say and do anything you want as a leader, as a member of the management team, provided you're not threatening, interrogating, making promises, or spying. So you want to get into a situation where you're not attaching any negative consequence to somebody's free choice to join a union. On the flip side, you don't want to promise anything, more hours, higher wages, should they ultimately decide not to unionize. But outside of those parameters, an employer is absolutely free to educate and inform an employee with respect to what working in a unionized environment may look like in that business.